Well, good evening, and thank you for attending our city council meeting here on May 28th. It's a Tuesday, so because of the holiday, we are doing it on a Tuesday. So thank you for joining us. And I'd like to say the City of Pasco Council workshops are broadcast live on PSC TV channel 191 and Charter Spectrum Cable in Pasco and Washington, and streamed on www.pasco-wa.gov, PSC TV live, and on the city's Facebook page. And if after that, if we could have the clerk call the roll, please.
Councilmember Barajas,
Present.
Blaisdell,
Present.
Grimm,
Here.
Harpster,
Present.
Morales,
Here.
Milne,
Here.
and Serrano.
Yeah, Mayor Serrano is excused for it this evening.
All right, 6 council members present.
Thank you. And with that, can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So with that, I know that we had a past busy weekend, but I'd like to hear from the other council members what they did. We got Councilman Perales.
Attended the nice memorial service yesterday at City View Cemetery. Very well put on by the Parks and Rec. It was well attended. It was standing room only. A lot of council members were there, so that was really fun. And then I attended a kind of ad hoc presentation today for the emergency 911 and communications proposed tax levy that's going to be perhaps going out later this year. It was very informative and very timely. So that was it.
Well, thank you for that. And next we have Councilman Harpster.
Yeah, thank you. Attended TriDeck board meeting last week. Not much to report. They did talk about job projections in our area over the next 15 years. Regional projects, they're expecting 4,600 new jobs over the next 15 years. Hanford anticipates 1,000 new jobs over the next 5 years. PNNL, 6,400 new jobs over the next 15 years. Excuse me, and then 450 nuclear-related jobs over the next 5 years. There was a Tri-Cities Workforce Roundtable meeting on May 7th, and the goal of that group is to accurately forecast employment needs in our region and work to create a plan to address those needs to ensure that we don't have a shortage of qualified applicants in the area. That was it.
Thank you for that report. And next we have Councilmember Grimm.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I also attended the memorial service at City View Cemetery, and like Councilmember Perales commented, staff did a really good job of putting that on, and it was really, really appreciated. And then kind of in my unofficial capacity, I was at the Pasco Chamber of Commerce Executive Board meeting today, and just talked about some of their upcoming events, like the 100th anniversary of the airmail that we received a presentation on there. Really trying to get behind that, and just also some of their other upcoming events, whether it be, starting to put their head together for the Ag Hall of Fame or their Sagebrush Scramble Golf Tournament, and just some of the other ways of promoting commerce here in the city of Pasco. So thank you.
Well, thank you for that report. And now we have Councilwoman Barajas.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I just wanted to give a huge shout out to all the volunteers in the city of Pasco that have at one point helped out set an event, volunteered to coach kids. So this is in regards to the volunteer appreciation dinner that we had Thursday last week. So again, thank you volunteers, and an invitation to everyone that is interested in participating and giving back to the city of Pasco. You can volunteer as a coach, to set up events, to clean up garbage, to walk dogs, everything and anything under the moon. We thank you volunteers. Also there is and I'm pretty sure Mayor Pro Tem is going to give a little bit more on this. As partners with the COPA, the Colima Pasco friendship agreement, there is a delegation, and we've shared this in the past, there's a delegation of people coming from Colima to Pasco in regards to to improve that relationship. So this past Friday there was a special meeting. called as plans start to come closer for that June concert that is coming up. And I'm pretty sure you have more details to share on that. But I just wanted to share a little bit about that special meeting and give you guys, I guess, calendar holder, placeholder in your calendar for the free concerts that are coming up, for the gala concert that is coming up to help raise funds for this friendship agreement. Again, it's in partnership with the City of Pasco. The Pasco is not funding, City of Pasco is not funding this. This is in collaboration with. So keep your eyes out for that. And I love to see you all at the concerts in downtown Pasco. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Yes, so as far as for my week, I did attend the Hispanic Chamber. It was good. And then I had planned to do the volunteer group, but thankfully Councilwoman Blaisdell was able to read the proclamation for me, and I appreciate all the city council members being there. I had double booked meetings, so again, sorry for that. But I did attend yesterday at Memorial at the cemetery, and I thought the mayor did a really good job. We had a lot of elected officials, and almost the whole council was there. So again, thank you for everybody for taking time out of your day to attend that. And on the COPA event, I could say I need to learn better Spanish because some of it was in Spanish, and I was having a hard time following along. But it was good, and we are hard at work. We got a lot of volunteers trying to make the cooperation between Colima and the City of Pasco better, and putting our minds and heads together and trying to do what we can to make Pasco proud of us. So with that, I don't see any other things, so let's move on to number 5. We have items for discussion with opportunity for public comment. It says the public may comment on each topic scheduled for discussion, up to 2 minutes per person with a total of 8 minutes per item. If opposing sides wish to speak, then both sides receive an equal amount of time to speak, up to 4 minutes each side. And then just so we know, if there is people in the audience that would like to talk about it, you need to talk about this particular item that we're talking about. You can't talk about whatever you want. So just giving you that heads up. So with that, we have 5A, Resolution, Washington State Recreation and Conservation Office Community Outdoor Athletic Facilities Grant. And this is by Director Rice, the man of fun.
That's all right. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Yes, this evening, this is an application to apply for a grant for the Memorial Park playfield restorations. What you would be authorizing this evening or what you'd be authorizing next meeting is for us to go ahead and continue to apply for the grant. So far, we've made it through the first round of grants, so this would entitle us to continue to apply for the second round. And in this case, the grant would reward about $500,000 with the remainder of the money, if awarded, coming from our park improvement funds to complete the renovation of the memorial play fields or baseball, softball fields.
All right, well, thank you. And do we have any council members that would like to make a comment or have a question for Director Rice? Well, seeing none, anybody in the audience that would like to comment on this as well? And I'm not seeing any, so thank you for that. And yes, let's put it on our agenda for next week. So with that, thank you. And with that, moving on to 5B, resolutions approval of applications to Public Works Board of Pre-Construction and Constructions funding for Butterfield WTP improvements and Reservoir Zone 2. And this is going to be by our newly upgraded director, Maria Serra.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. This item, very similar to the previous item, is requesting authorization from council to submit 2 applications to Public Works Board to fund 2 water projects. The Public Works Board has been a partner with City of Pasco in other projects, so we have chosen two water projects that we think will compete adequately. The maximum award per biennium per agency is $10 million. In this biennium, we have already received $1 million in pre-construction dollars. So we anticipate the max award will be around $9 million, and hopefully one of the 2 projects will receive that funding.
All right, well, thank you. Do we have any council members that would like to comment or have questions? Well, seeing none, I think we're good. So Is there any members of the audience that would like to chime in on this? And I'm not seeing any hands raised, so with that, let's move on to item C. Resolution Project Acceptance of Fourth Avenue Water Meter Replacement Project. And this is also by Maria Serra.
Good evening again. I think I have a very quick presentation, but I will be extremely fast with this. We are here to accept the award of the contractor for the work performed to relocate some meters here on 4th Avenue. This was work that was planned based on the request of property owners that were suffering from very low pressure. They were originally connected to a 2-inch undersized main in their alley, so a new main was installed in the right of way, and then they were able to connect. So the work was much appreciated by the property owners, and I will just go super fast through all the pictures so you can see before and after. Okay, we're gonna do this. Sorry, I forgot there were some other things for the previous item, so here we go. So we're seeing 4th Avenue just north of City Hall, and these are the 3 properties that were part of the project that required that relocation of the meter. They were the only ones being fed off of that undersized main. And this is the work before and then during, when the meters are being installed and their services, and then after. And so there were no change orders and all the work was completed adequately. Happy to answer any questions.
All right, is there any council members that have any questions? And I'm not seeing any lights coming on, so with that, is there any members of the audience that would like to chime in on this? And again, I'm not seeing any, so with that, let's move on to 5D. It says project acceptance for East Urban Growth Area, the UGA Expansion Sewer Local Improvements District number 152 Phase 1 project. And again, it's Maria Serra.
Good evening again. Once more, this is another acceptance of work performed as part of the first phase of the LID 152. As you may remember, we had discussions on this project when we were doing boring under the railroad, and we encountered some very big boulders. So this project is finally completed, and we are ready to close the project. All the work was completed, and in your report there is information regarding change orders. The dollar amount on change orders in this project seems high compared to the overall cost of this phase, but ultimately when we look at the overall project, it's actually not that high. Again, the main reason for the high change order in this case was the need to modify that casing and get through the blasting of rock under the railroad, which we discussed months back. So again, in this case, I will just go really fast with the picture so you can see before, during, and after, real fast. Almost a picture, a video. This is the work during. You're seeing some of those big trenches and the equipment that was used to remove those big boulders. And then again, a summary of change orders, which included boulder blasting, plus changing in casing and some additional flagging and modifications to the trenching to accommodate the lack of flagging support from BNSF. And that is all. Happy to answer questions on it.
All right, do we have any council members that would have any questions on this topic? Well, looks like a great report because nobody's asking questions, so thank you for that. And is there any members of the audience that would like to chime in on this? Again, not seeing anybody jumping up, so let's move right along. So we are on section 5E, the 2025-2030 Transportation Improvements Plan, and this is going to be by Director Jacob Gonzalez.
Good evening, Council. This presentation this evening is with respects to the annual preparation of the Transportation Improvement Program. Under state RCW 3577010, the city is required to prepare a comprehensive transportation plan for the following 6 years. Ensure that it's consistent with the city's adopted comprehensive plan, includes various modes of transportation. There is a deadline of July 1st, 2024 to submit the annual program, and then 30 days within that timeframe of adoption, it shall be submitted to the Secretary of Transportation. The staff report prepared for council for tonight included last year's TIP program, and we wanted to go through a little bit of that effort and then talk about where we're at today for the current development of the TIP. So project types in the TIP are derived from, various master plans the city has adopted over the past several years. So for Pasco, that means the recently adopted Broadmoor Master Plan, our Downtown Pasco Master Plan. On the access and safety standpoint, the local road safety plan is a big informational tool used. Of course, we have our own adopted comprehensive plan and our transportation system master plan to provide guides for the development of what types of projects are included. In addition to that, city staff works with council certainly to look at what engagement and input we receive from community members based on all the surveys, not just transportation related surveys, but we conduct surveys for parks and recreation, we conduct surveys for housing, etc. There's often a transportation element of those responses, so we want to make sure those are included, along with stakeholder engagement, for example, working with the school district with respects to developing planning efforts for safe routes to school improvements. And then certainly from our own staff, looking at both the operation and maintenance needs that the city needs over the following years. In terms of the project types in the TIP does not typically include projects anticipated to be completed by private development. So these are things like your frontage development, the extension of roadways through a development, et cetera. Those typically are not going to be included unless there's some sort of extenuating circumstance associated with it. And along those lines, there is special attention on projects with funding from federal or state agencies. In terms of where we're at today, the status of the TIP is we're reviewing the 24-29 TIP. This was adopted last June 20th, via resolution 4356 by council. It was a rather large program. There were 77 projects. One of the efforts that staff is going through for this effort is to refine that to make sure that it's practical, that it's feasible. Several projects have been completed or are in progress. The Broadmoor TIF area was a big part of that TIF program from last year. The Louis Street Overpass was also part of that TIF effort as well. One of the things that I'll do now is share the presentation with Director of Public Works Maria Serra, to talk about last year's TIF and some of the projects we're talking about for this year's effort.
Thank you, Jacob. So, as we mentioned, there were some projects that were completed, so I have a list. There's 5 projects that were removed from the list from last year. Those are Louis Street Overpass, the ramp on I-182 eastbound, Sylvester Street improvements, which is scheduled to be completed by the end of the year. Same is true for Road 68 and Court Street, and finally Oregon Avenue overlay, which may have been removed from the list last year prematurely, but is being completed this year. And now, what we are showing you is information you didn't have in your packet yet, as it's fresh off the press. This is a draft list of projects, and these are the first 18. There's more. There's about 50 projects, programs, studies, and I'm making that clarification there. You'll see in the next slides what those look like. So these first 18 projects were specifically put together to show you in the screen, because all of those are expected to have activity in 2025. That doesn't mean that they will all be completed in 2025, but there will be either ongoing or undergoing some level of activity. Actually, 12 of these 18 projects are actually underway, with dollars either spent or being pursued. I want to call attention to those that are bolded. Any project bolded in this list means that has been newly added to our list. And in this case, the ones that are being added are Louis Street Pavement Preservation Project, which is federally funded and has received funds that are currently awarded, so we're required to include it. Same is true for Ainsworth Avenue Pavement Preservation, another project that was has received full funding for its work, so it has to be included to be then reported to the state and the federal agencies. And finally, Louis Street Underpass Demolition. That project is a requirement of the Lewis Street overpass work. So it's being included as a separate project to be able to pursue funds, and then those funds be reported to state and federal agencies. All other projects that are listed here are actually part of the list last year. So minimal additions, a lot of those underway. And of course, we will develop a map, but we did not get to the map yet, so it's coming. Again, these projects in this next set between Project 19 and Project 34 are scheduled to occur on future years, further away than 2025 for the most part. So we're seeing projects that are basically in the order in which we anticipate completion to occur, or at least work to occur in them. So we're seeing most of these projects were in the list last year, except for a project where there's been deficiencies identified, and we anticipate that those deficiencies will be further exacerbated by development that is occurring nearby. Because it is tied to DOT's facilities, we understand this would be one of those projects that is better delivered by City of Pasco versus a private party. Okay, and then this is the last set of projects. We'll have another slide with programs and plans. So these are projects that are further in the future, within the next 6 years. And again, calling attention to the only added project in this list is a project that will begin, or is anticipated to begin, in 2030. So that is the new year added to this plan, and therefore that project in the north end of Broadmoor Interchange is anticipated to begin then, so it's being added to the list. So minimal additions. And then I know you noticed probably some colors. There were some projects that were in gray. So some of those colors that were identified in gray are really related to projects that you will not see in our CIP transportation component. You'll likely see them in another component of the CIP because they're tied to some other recreational use or other projects. So this is a way to kind of track that we're not losing projects between TIP and CIP, but you will see them listed in a different location. So just trying to color code and help the review a little bit. And then finally, in this final slide, you're seeing several new items, and those are in the green colors. They are programs, and we have decided that it was a good idea to propose to you a couple of programs that addresses things that have been top of mind in prior meetings and discussions. So we're looking at a pet bike gap program. That would be a program that addresses specific gaps in infrastructure for pet bike infrastructure, and then address those in a continuous basis. Same is true for neighborhood traffic calming program, where we can, as part of the studies that we're doing, identify locations that need attention and have a revolving type project where every year we address a new location as those are identified or needed. And then looking at the yellowish color, we have some plans and studies that are either underway or planned. So there's several new ones. The first two new ones in there are the Comprehensive Safety Action Plan, which is a roadway safety plan on steroids, as I like to say. It's very in-depth analysis of roadway safety, and that project is fully funded with federal dollars. Therefore, it's underway and is shown in our TIP, so then can be reported to the federal agencies. Same is true for our citywide injury minimization and speed management, which we typically refer to as our speed analysis throughout the city. And then finally, at the very bottom of the list, there is a sign reflectivity analysis and implementation, which is part of a grant application we have submitted and we hope to receive funds for. So therefore, we need to report it as well. So that is an overview of what is new in this list. This list is still quite large. There's 50 items in it. We did go back and look historically what our TIPs look like. And it has been since 2018 growing. In 2018, the 2019 to 2024 plan was passed with 22 projects, and from there on, every year was from 22 to 27 to 36 to 56 to 68 to 77. And this year we are trying to bring it back down to where we really want to show the projects that will be delivered or are anticipated to be delivered by the city, those that we can reasonably find funds for. And again, this is a plan, so it doesn't really mean that all projects in this list will be delivered, but there will be efforts put forth to procure funding for them. Okay, and I will only talk if I'm needed.
All right, well, thank you for that. I know out of the 25 years I've lived in the city of Pasco, I can never remember a time where there were so many improvement plans going on with the road system. It seems like everywhere you go, there's another construction site going on. So definitely trying to improve the roads and see what we can do to make Pasco more better place to drive. But I know right now it is a challenge. So with that, do we have any council members that would ask questions? So it looks like Leo Perales is up front. So
Thank you. I was wondering, can we get that list? Yeah, because it was kind of seeming like priority and then on the way down, right? Is that kind of what the list was? Number one being that we're trying to look for funding for that one, and then I mean I would like to know that because I don't know some of that stuff. First thing when I was looking through some of that list, I don't know, for me it was like, man, I kind of want to see more traffic calming stuff, and that was like 45. So
The actual projects in white, blue, and gray are in the order in which they would be are intended to be delivered, or at least have activity on
in
them.
those areas.
Yes, so blue, white, and gray, right? It's like we were working towards a list. If you could see the full list, which was really hard to put in a slide, but we will make it available. You would see the dollars amounts kind of cascading further away as you move down. But then programs are planned to be happening year after year. So that's why they're programs versus projects. And that's where the traffic calming would come. It's part of a program, and we would have recurring funding allocated to it. And then plans were actually not in the same order. Most of those plans that you saw listed there are actually underway right now. The way we divided them so that you could see plans typically don't make it into CIP either. So that way you would have numbering that kind of makes sense when you're looking then at TIP and CIP, trying to make that further review or future review easier.
Yeah, no, I would like to know which ones are in planning stages, maybe design stages, and then so forth. Because what if we don't, what if we don't agree with some of the ones that are coming up? We're like, we kind of want this, over past 76 and not these other ones. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. But I would just like to have more dialogue, what we think, especially in my district, right on Burden, there's a couple spots like Road 60, like that was on there. I get phone calls about that. Right on Madison, same thing, Madison and Burden. And then Madison coming down on Road 44. I mean, that needs to get cleaned up, especially now with that gas station. I just feel like there needs to be stuff done. But obviously, we got to find the money. The other thing, it just comes down to, when it comes down to speeding, how is that in this program? Because I have a lot of people in my district who want to see, for instance, Madison Street to go down in speed. It's 35. They want 25. So is there ways that this can be a part of that? Is that part of the traffic calming measures? Perhaps we don't put traffic pillows and stuff like that. Maybe just reduce the speed. Is that something that can be a part of this? Then that doesn't cost any money, really.
Yes, so actually on speeding, there's a dual approach. On one side, there is the study that is underway looking at speed limit and how the geometry and the current use of that road matches the posted speed limit, and then implementation of traffic calming. So it's a dual approach. In some cases, we've identified that, like Burns Road comes to mind, right, where the speed was really too high for the uses surrounding it and the volumes, and so it was justified through a traffic engineering analysis that it could be lower in speed. In other cases, traffic calming is the right solution if the posted speed is adequate, but people are not complying with it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have Councilman Grimm.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Just a couple, I guess kind of following up on what Councilmember Perales said, how are we prioritizing these projects? I mean, I heard you, Director Sarah, when you said in anticipation of getting work done. I remember that being your key phrase there, but, you know, I just think about just looking at the totality of this list, and let's face it, this is a massive list of massive projects, and I appreciate all the work. I can't imagine all the work that has went into, you know, putting this together, and, you know, some of them are obviously urgent priorities. I don't need to tell, you that, and some, well, maybe they're a little bit more of just, the maybe aesthetic or, wish list kind of end, but I guess, yeah, just following Councilmember Perales, how do we prioritize these?
Yes. So we will address prioritization. I also failed to announce that there were more slides, but we'll get back to those in just a second. Let me talk about prioritization. So really focusing on the first 2 years, trying to make sure that those first 2 years are projects that either are funded or could reasonably be funded. Based on work that is already either underway or identified to happen, because we have been applying for grants and talking to the legislature, whatever the mechanism to get funding for those is. So that's really the first 2 years, and of course you'll get a full table that shows how much our cost estimates are, what stage of project we are in, and all the detail. This was just to get you the list that we had not been able to provide you earlier. So we are looking at safety concerns, and I think safety rises to the top. And then, of course, if there is additional work or development where we could leverage the work that we're doing to gain momentum and accomplish more with limited resources on our end. So that is how that list comes together. Of course, the list as proposed could be modified based on, of course, your comments and the public input. And as part of that, I think it's important to mention, I will let Director Gonzalez tell us, about all the opportunities for commenting and reviewing this list with a map and all the information in it. We don't want to do this in isolation from what the needs are, the perceived needs from our community and you all.
Thank you, Director Sutter. And along those lines, city staff will be hosting 3 official open houses over the next week and a half, or actually over the next 2 weeks to listen to members of the community to get their input, their thoughts, their ideas about potential projects, project locations, and hearing about challenges that they see on the network on a daily basis. We try to spread out these open houses equally across the city. So our first one will be June 4th, located in downtown Pasco at Cafe Con Arte. On June 6th, we'll have a meeting, an open house at Kurtzman Park. I think the June 4th date is incorrect. My apologies. It's June 5th. My apologies. It's correct on the flyer, not on the graphic to the left. So June 5th, it'll be downtown. June 6th, will be at Kurtzman Park. And then June 11th of the following week, it'll be at Delta High School in their cafeteria. And that'll be an opportunity for us to have a series of maps. We'll have staff from both community development and public works departments and our communications team out there listening, taking notes, asking members of the public, what they think needs to be on the list, what they would like to see prioritized to bring back to council. And then along those lines, this is the anticipated schedule. So we'll be here a lot talking about the TIP over the next several weeks. Obviously, today's the workshop. On the 3rd, we'll host a public hearing at the regular council meeting. And then on June 10th, there will be a public hearing, a special hearing at the council workshop. That'll be followed by a meeting on June 17th. That's a regular council meeting. And then if necessary, a follow-up meeting on June 24th to address and update the list and the projects based on what we've heard. If there needs to be additional refinement made, we wanted to plan for that time, and so we have that well before the deadline of July 1st. So with that concludes this presentation, and happy, along with Director Sarah, to answer any questions from council.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that does lead into my second question really well. It was, how are we going to include public comment? And I guess, I assume this is something you do every year, gather the public to comment. Do we ever get much of a response from the public? And then kind of just in these waning few weeks, if people have some significant suggestions, is just kind of concerning a little bit, how we're going to involve those in the project itself.
I think this year it marks an opportunity. I think demonstrates that there's certainly more opportunities for public input, given the open house events spread out throughout the city. We're also going to be partnering. We'll be in the back, but we'll be at the Pasco Police Department's community meeting next week as well, just kind of available, sharing information about this. But I think this year certainly is a change in terms of the amount of public opportunities available.
Okay, no, that's really good. And I guess, part of it, this just brings up, some of the bigger things that, of course, we've all continued to talk to City Manager Lincoln about, just our budget priorities. And, I see our Chief of Police back there and, just all the priorities we have around the city. And, this does represent a massive, balancing act of, city priorities, where all these funds are going to go, and I think about just the opportunity out there in Broadmoor to still develop that and, just the need for more tax revenue to, support just this growing, thriving city that is in need of so many infrastructure improvements all over the city. So, kind of makes me anxious a little bit, but I'm glad the city manager surrounded himself with a great staff. But yes, I guess just the more we can just continue to be exposed to all of this so we can have a better grasp of it would be really, really appreciated. So thank you again for all your work on this. I know this is a huge, project list. And, on one hand, I'm grateful that it means we're growing, we're thriving, more people are coming, businesses, all that's really, really good. But obviously, it means we've got our work cut out too. So thank you for all your work on it. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Councilman Grimm. Yeah, good insight there. So next we have Councilman Harpster.
What criteria goes into determining the addition of new projects each year? The new 18 this year. 'Cause I'm sure those weren't just pulled out of the sky. So what does that process look like?
Yes, so several projects added were a response to having received funds. For example, on pavement preservation, where we have a program, and then specific corridors were identified and they were eligible for funding. Therefore, we applied for the funding, and now they become their individual project. This is especially important when we get federal funds because they need to be reported separately from our program. So a lot of those that you saw added were exactly that case. Specific funding coming into the city for work that was intended to occur in some manner and now is identified as a specific project. Other projects that you saw there were either plans or programs. So the programs were in direct response to what we heard during prior meetings and retreats regarding both multimodal access and traffic calming. So those were created by the team, just thinking of how to better address the needs without having a list that was very discrete and very long in every single location where we have a gap or a need for additional infrastructure. So those could be lumped into a program. And then you saw studies that were added. Those were either funded or anticipated to be funded with grants. And finally, the only project that doesn't have grant funding but was added to the list was related to Kirchner and Commercial Avenue, which was identified in the TSMP but had not made the list prior years. Yet the deficiencies continue to appear as we evaluate safety concerns at that intersection where it's the on-ramp to 395, and with increased development surrounding that area, it's important that we address the existing shortcomings when it comes to safety.
Okay, so the TSMP then could influence the TIP, is that right?
Yeah, TSMP is the big plan that looks 20 years into the future. It's just like our sewer calm plan, water calm plan. It looks at all the things that will be needed what infrastructure is needed to adequately support the growth of the city. And then out of that, we carve out the very near term 6 years, right? And we look at, okay, are the assumptions in the TSMP still right? Has development occurred in a location, or flows have increased in a location that we didn't account for? And so that's how you kind of sort out which of those make the list and which ones get left outside of those 6 years, trying to make that 6-year list attainable.
And so then in applying for funds through various grant programs, is it more generalized, like funds for certain types of projects like sidewalks and ADA ramps, for example? And then once we get those funds allocated, then we can get more specific on the projects? And how would we know to ask for those funds in the first place, you know?
Great question, yes. There's typically project-specific applications, especially for transportation projects. So for pet bike, the program requires that you identify, for example, crashes in the area. So typically what happens is we do the roadway safety plan and we identify which locations are suffering from, in the recent 5-year period, highest level of, say, crashes with serious or fatal injuries and, serious injury or fatal crashes where there are pedestrians or bicyclists involved. And so those are the projects that will compete at the state level adequately. And so that's pretty much how those come up. And we typically have a list of all the things that are needed, but you try to compete as best you can to capture those dollars. For pavement preservation, for example, the program that is a federal program only applies to specific routes within the city. And so they're limited in this case to the national system. So NHS routes, there's 5 or 6 within City of Pasco. 2 have been just completed. One is Court, the other one is Oregon, which is underway right now. The next 2 are going to be Lewis and Ainsworth, and then there is a section of 68 that is eligible. And so we look at the payment information, so payment rating on those, and we were within the rating that would compete adequately, and so we went after those fundings instead of using local funds to do preservation in those roads. So a lot of times is what the emphasis is and what the criteria is to be able to pierce out from TSMP or regular maintenance list of projects what comes to the top and where we can capture those dollars.
Gotcha. Thank you. How do you determine then which projects to eliminate? You know, like in shaving down the list from 70, whatever it was, to 50. What does that process look like?
Okay, you're okay with me answering? Okay, good. So we look through the list. We identify any projects that were not anticipated to be delivered by City of Pasco. So projects that were in the list but were just participations for other agencies to deliver, we removed. Projects that were completed were removed. Projects that were anticipated to be delivered by private parties only as part of their frontage improvements or improvements that are clearly stated to have no deficiency today, deficiencies appear in the future when development nearby occurs. So those that were not anticipated to be built by the city were removed as well, and that trimmed a lot of projects. It seems like the philosophy in prior years was to include all things in TIP that we could ever ask a developer to do. And that is not a very useful tool. We, the city, can ask developers to do improvements based on what TSMP says that is needed. It's just like water and sewer, and go back to water and sewer because those are undisputed processes where we look at our sewer comp plan and we know what size of pipe we need and the developer installs that. So having those projects for transportation that were intended to be done by developments only really made the message very confusing and the list very long, and ultimately it kind of gave an augmented dollar amount to our program, which is really not the dollars that we are putting into the program. So I think that was, in a way, not as useful as it was thought to be in prior years. This year is the first year in maybe 5 years that both CED and Public Works have worked together doing the list. So there's a little bit of a new approach.
So do you anticipate then the list sticking at 50 or go up or down over the next few weeks? Not sure.
We think it's a pretty solid list. I selfishly would like the list to be shorter, but
Sure.
we did not find anything that was a clear cutout. And yes.
When do you anticipate having financial estimates for those new projects?
Okay, so actually we have some draft dollars in our list currently, which just was very big to show. We will provide that to you all. Those dollars are being vetted right now, so we're preparing cost estimates just to solidify those. And we actually went back and revisited the existing projects that were listed, in part to address, inflation, right? But also to assess that the dollar amounts shown in the list prior were representative of what we're seeing things cost today. So. Oh, when can I give it to you? Sorry, missed that part, key part. I think we could make it available probably as soon as tomorrow or Wednesday. It will say draft in the background, and just know that those dollar amounts might be tinkered with.
Sure.
And obviously priorities and other things are yet to be reassessed based on the feedback we receive.
Okay. And then this was on last year's tip, but some of them are categorized as ongoing and carryover. And I assume that means they've been started and they've not yet been started. Is that correct?
That is correct. Ongoing would mean that they were already underway with activity happening. Carryover meant that they were in the list the prior year and they were brought to the next list, but they had not been really launched.
Sure. Easy enough. One of those items was a traffic analysis for US 12 for $200,000 in partnership with WashDOT. And, my opinion is WashDOT has not really ever been a good partner with us. So, why would the city contribute $200,000 to a traffic study for WashDOT? And in addition to that, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Because it's a WashDOT project, not a City of Pasco project, why would it be on our list? You said a moment ago, projects not completed, not anticipated to be completed by City of Pasco where someone's removed. So can you help me understand that?
I can do
Reason.
that. Yes. So that list was, that project still remains here, is listed on number 49. It's actually a much bigger dollar amount. The city has been requesting support from the legislature to have funding to do an analysis. So in part, the need is to ensure that we have adequate crossing abilities and also in and out of US 12 from our industrial area. The safety concern exists. City staff has been coordinated with DOT, and they seem amicable to at least exploring what are some solutions that could be implemented. Last year, we thought we had been successful in receiving state funding for this work, but ultimately that funding was removed from the bill. And so at this point, this project is in the order, I don't remember the number exactly, but several $1 million. And the intent is that the analysis cannot happen without DOT agreement to happening. And it's both DOT and FHWA and City of Pasco, because we are the ones that have a vested interest in having that area be resolved. And this could look pretty much like an analysis of solutions similar to what happened in Broadmoor area.
And so then, just clarifying, the project is just a traffic analysis, and you're thinking it'll be millions of dollars? Is that typical? This is probably a naive question. I'm used to residential projects with traffic impact analysis that are 30 to 50 grand. Is that typical for looking at highway interchanges and things like that?
Typically, it is also a very long process, and it involves a lot of stakeholders. So there's a lot of effort put forth in just convening with all the stakeholders to ensure that we reach agreement on what is the preferred solution. So the process starts with a purpose and need, where we evaluate what deficiencies exist and projected deficiencies, and then there is a very heavy outreach effort to get input from the general public and other agencies. So it's a pretty lengthy process, probably 2 years or so. And yes, it involves too many players to be able to do it faster.
Okay. So
And
more
council member,
intense than
if I could just add also, typically for a project like that, because it's something that's a legislative ask, our lobbyists usually advise that there's a certain amount that we need to put in as a match, though you're correct in pointing out that we haven't really been all that successful with getting transportation dollars. In fact, Eastern Washington during the last transportation package, I think Spokane was the only city who received any funding from the transportation package. So you're right to point out that it hasn't been exactly favorable to Eastern Washington or Pasco.
Yeah. I'm almost done, I promise. There's several projects for the heritage area. Can you help me understand why some of those projects out there, well, most of them are being done by the city and not private development in the future? And then, in addition to that question, what, besides the obvious projects, what other projects are kind of coming down the pipeline that would lead you guys to want to put a lot of those projects on the tip?
That question is harder to answer. So there are some known deficiencies that, again, will only be exacerbated as more development occurs. And so having them in the list allows us to first start dedicating effort towards fundraising, as well as identifying the right solution. There is a clear single point towards the heritage area. There is a single location where all the traffic will go through with a lot of freight traffic. And so trying to address that need before everything truly collapses is top of mind. We don't believe that any single private party would be able to do the work to fix those deficiencies, because I don't believe that anything in the current list has undeveloped parcels adjacent to it. It would be kind of like a further away type impact. So there might be impacts that are assessed to those that develop, but unfortunately, there's some existing deficiencies that would trigger some work being done by the city, therefore delivering the project with city efforts.
Okay. One of the projects was extension of Road 40 East. And the way it looked on a map was that extension, while providing better connectivity, would only benefit that one parcel that I think's undeveloped. And so why, besides the connectivity portion, why would the developer not need to pay in total for that extension?
That is a great question. So the intent of the project is to create connectivity and avoid some of the left turns in the intersection of A Street and Road 40 East.
To create a
it
left
is-
turn?
Yes, a left
Okay,
turn, yes, going northbound on Road 40 East and then heading towards a connection to US 12, right? So that would force them to take a left turn on A. And so the intent is to create an alternative route so that we have a different route to get to the interchange at US 12 and Lewis, or Heritage. I think in that location has a dual name. And so true, it is located in front of undeveloped property, which would not prevent the city from maybe a latecomers if the project were to be delivered in anticipation of development occurring. The truth is that the triggering factor for that connection is beyond the development of that parcel. It's a need of basically a single route to get to the interchange at US 12. And so providing a separate route to get to that interchange is the preferred option, since some of the movements at A Street and US 12 have been restricted. And so we want to avoid that. There's two ways to get to US 12, right? And if we're thinking freight traffic, likely they will want to get on US 12. And so the way to get to US 12 right now is either going on A Street towards the east and getting to US 12, or going to the west and then heading north and going to the interchange between Lewis and US 12. And that is a safe and preferred option, but the only way to get there is to take a left turn from Road 40 East onto 8th Street. And that is anticipated to generate a lot of issues.
Gotcha. Last question. And we sort of touched on this, but some of the projects, one of the slides said that the TIP does not include projects anticipated to be completed by private development. But then, like we were just talking, there's a lot of projects that are listed as necessary to accommodate proposed anticipated development. So what process does public works staff and CD staff go through to determine, developer's going to be responsible for this, the city will put in this?
So typically we look at what locations have a known deficiency, and I know I've said that a couple of times, so I apologize. But that is truly what happens, is we really look at where do we have a problem today, even if no new development were to occur, and then what happens if development around it is either anticipated to occur, or we have this indication that there is development coming, right? And so then it only gets worse. So that's one part of it. And then there is an evaluation of responsibility, which happens at very high level at TIP level, just to be able to have some budgetary planning, especially on the first 2 years. So 25 and 26 in this case. And then, of course, further out in those years is a little bit less in depth. True definition of contributions happen once we are looking at the actual development and the impacts and through use of the land, because we have a range of uses for land, so we have an idea of what is going to be needed. That's how TSMP develops projects. But then as you're looking at it, again, similar to water and sewer, when you're looking at the actual use of that parcel, it's like, oh, well, there's going to be this many trips generated. It's a little bit different. So we can put sharper our pencil to identify what is the true proportionality of people participating, or if there is grant available, how much money do we need to match that grant, and is there a need for match or not? And so that happens as we have more certainty on A, what's happening surrounding that location, or B, we have more certainty on the funding sources.
That's very helpful. Thank you. That's it.
All right, well, thank you, Councilman Harpster, and now we go to Councilwoman Bras.
And I forgot what I was going to say. I'm joking. I do want to call out, I'm so sorry. I do want to call out in regards to the going back into the open house, the forums that are usually organized for this. What modes of communication are we using to reach out and make sure that we engage a lot of the community? Yes, there's a lot of projects on here, and there's comments about, the feedback and input from the community is very important. However, what is the effort that we are actually putting out there? Because I have been to some of these open house forums, and it's usually the same small group of people that attend. And so this is also an invite to the community to participate. There's a lot of projects that are coming up. There's current projects that are trying to wrap up. But your input before the actual construction begins is very important. So we invite you to these open house forums. Any invite, please stay aware of the projects that are coming up and are active, so that you can actually give your input before before you don't have a say. So again, coming back, what are the efforts that we are actually using to invite people, let people know?
Yeah, the city's communications team has really led this effort. They're fairly active right now on social media. We'll be out sharing flyers across the community. We've obviously reached out to each 3 of these locations, and we'll be asking for their assistance to help promote the event as well. And the times being held, I think, is more important here. Is and along with the locations, obviously, is meeting community members where they're already at. Coffee shops already pretty busy in the afternoon. Kerson Park on hopefully a sunny and not too windy of an afternoon, evening will be busy. And just to go into locations where community members are already at, rather than asking them to come to City Hall, but meeting the community members already out in the community, I think will be a big help.
Thank you for that. Just last comment, please again, call out to the community. Participate as much as you can in those open forums, open house. Come and give your input. Check out the website. And if you don't find anything on the website, call city staff. They can guide you to where you can attend and give your input in person. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman Barajas. I was thinking of the exact same thing. I didn't know if maybe you could put something in more color, like in a utility bill, or actually hand it out like when kids are going home and they have to, I'm just throwing stuff out there, but it does get frustrating to attend these meetings and you got the same group of people, seems like more or less all the time. So, or yeah, like Mr. Thomas there. But anyway, just throwing that out there, maybe we could think outside the box. Not even sure if it could be done, but any utility bills or give stuff to the school kids to give it to mom and dad. I don't know if we do that with the Pasco School District, but something like that. Just like to attend these meetings, because I know it is very important, and you definitely do want our citizens being heard on traffic, and it's a hot topic, especially with speeding and traffic flow. So I know you had a comment on that.
Yes, so we wanted to also let you know we did use some of our media opportunities with this. There was a Pasco Polls video that was published, aired this weekend. Advertising the opportunities for comment. There will be newspaper advertisement of the public hearing so people can participate here at City Council or provide written comment via the city clerk. And I believe there's also radio advertisement of the opportunities for open house and public comment at both in different locations and here at City Hall. So the video that was aired for Pasco Polls will be in our social media feed. So hoping to reach a wide audience, maybe different kinds of media for the different groups that use different types of media. And finally, I love the idea of maybe distributing things at school, since parents may be able to see that if it comes in the homework packet with their kids. So we'll see if we can make that happen.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Well, with that, I think unless the public, which I think it's only one member, has a comment, which I'm not seeing him jump up, so I think we're moving on to 5F, which is the interim development ordinance with Director Jacob Gonzalez.
Good evening again, Council. The agenda report and the presentation is in response to feedback, quite frankly, over the past couple of years that staff has received about what we can do to help enhance and improve the flexibility or the reliability and consistency of the development review process. In particular, anything we can do to streamline the development review process with a particular focus on increasing investment in housing production, while also keeping in line with our adopted plans, in particular the adopted Pasco Comprehensive Plan. The interim development ordinance, what it essentially is a set of temporary regulations. It's time limited for a specific planning item or to address specific development issues. It's intended to address and revise identified barriers to development, while more permanent solutions are being developed or studied, or as an opportunity to pilot new ideas as well. And certainly meeting the needs of our stakeholders based on the feedback that we received. Along those lines, for the past several years, as I've shared, the Community Economic Development Department has led and sponsored several efforts to help identify what these barriers really are. In 2021, there was a draft assessment of our development review process. In 2022, there was an assessment on overall strategy for the department itself. And then last fall, there was the adoption of Pasco's first comprehensive housing action plan, which really included a set of strategic items for staff and council to discuss related to items and things that we can move forward to address the housing needs in the city of Pasco, with a big focus of them being what can we remove that we control to help make this process better for all involved. And so there's several components related to the interim development ordinance. Those include revising the standards and criteria for traffic impact analysis, establishing flexible standards for minimum and maximum density. So that's the number of homes per acre, both at the low end and at the high end. Identifying opportunities for exemptions to minimum lot size, flexibility for off-street parking requirements, and then looking at developing a procedure and process for the concurrent review of both land use and civil engineering planning review concurrently. And so I have a few slides that I'll run through briefly to provide council kind of an overview on each of these components. The first one is taking a look at our standards and criteria for traffic impact analysis. Right now, these standards are fairly minimal, and they really don't offer a lot of flexibility for either staff or the applicant, but essentially what we've heard is a need to update those standards and the criteria to make them more reliable and consistent. Using this as an opportunity to clarify those requirements, in particular reducing the redundancy. There's a lot of back and forth that happens between the applicant and staff, often the applicant, a consultant, and staff, a consultant, and an applicant. And staff certainly recognizes the confusion and the challenge that can present to any developer, big or small. We also think that this is an opportunity to enhance transparency and efficiency with this process in particular as well. Right now, the standards for traffic requirements, traffic studies are located in the construction and specification standards, which is kind of an odd place for something like this to be located. Some cities put these right in the municipal code. Some cities put these in the development review standards. That's where we would like to propose that these standards live. It's a place where most folks have access to. They know where to look for it. It's part of your standard development review process. And along those lines, looking at including provisions for context and flexibility for the TIA thresholds in particular. That may include raising the thresholds or looking at things like proximity, right? So when there's a residential project proposed near a commercial area that obviously offers an opportunity to reduce trips, reduce trip lengths, that development should receive some sort of credit for that particular project. Right now, they're kind of penalized for doing exactly what we've called from the comp plan. So this is an opportunity for us to kind of align these with the adopted comp plan. Flexible density standards. What staff has proposed, at least initially, is allowing for some discretion with the application of both the minimum and maximum density standards. What we receive right now and over the past couple of years is because we have both a minimum and a maximum, we certainly are trying to encourage as much housing as possible given the challenges and the needs across the region. But we also have plenty of property owners and households where they're just trying to subdivide into another lot or add one more unit or one more home to their lot. But when we strictly apply and adhere to the minimum density, they dramatically are over that requirement. And so we've had to work and try to meander around that, given what the intent is of that ordinance as adopted in the code. But what this would do would develop criteria for when that flexibility would be warranted. What many communities do is put flexible standards when there's a project that's got an affordable housing component, or it's adjacent to a park or a public facility, places where you typically want to have higher yield, or there's a provision for density flexibility when it's under a certain size, so it's beneath 5 acres, it's lower than 5 acres. There's still other controls and standards, which I'll get into next, that would still control kind of the overall development itself. Minimum lot size is one of those. This is particularly challenging for a lot of Central Pasco and any other portions of the city that were developed prior to 1975, where lot sizes, lot widths, and depths requirements were completely different than what were adopted in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. Certainly much different than what we have in place today. And so what essentially happens is that you have a lot that already has a home on it. They would like to redevelop, but the minimum lot size no longer complies with the code. So this would be an opportunity for us to identify exemptions to that process, exemptions to that rule when applied, to allow for redevelopment opportunities to occur. Again, like the density flexibility proposal, it could be applied to areas where there's a development less than 5 acres, or there's an affordable component related to housing associated with the project as well. We still have minimum width and depth standards for the actual lot. We still have setback requirements. We still have height requirements. So there's still plenty of controls associated with limiting or allowing development feasibility in the city. But this one in particular would make many projects in Central Pasco eligible for development or redevelopment. This is a provision related to off-street parking requirements. This is one that we struggle with a lot. The city of Pasco has off-street parking requirements. These are provisions for based on what you're proposing, the square footage. For example, we have requirements for parking requirements if you're building a bowling alley. It's probably an outdated code at this point, but if you've got X amount of lanes, depending on number of seats per lanes, you are required to put in X amount of parking. So it's a little dated. We did an analysis related to our downtown, our core area of downtown last year. And if we took the square footage and the uses of just the businesses between 2nd and 5th Clark and Columbia, that those uses would require upwards of 39 acres of off-street parking requirements. And so obviously we're not going to find 40 acres of off-street parking requirement space in the downtown area. That would totally decimate a community. But that also happens for new developments as well. There are several projects that just have not moved forward. The applications have been halted because they could not meet off-street parking requirements. So this would be one where staff would recommend or propose that instead of it being off-street parking requirements, it would be off-street parking recommendations. In particular with this one, there's an opportunity for us to kind of get ahead of mandates related to EV, electric vehicle charging infrastructure, which is extremely costly. There's also an unknown regarding the demand to meet that, the actual power demand to meet those requirements. There are several industrial and commercial projects that are struggling with those requirements right now. So this proposal would allow off-street parking to be better aligned with the actual market demands. A developer and a development is going to know exactly what that need needs to be based on who their audience, their target tenants or users are, versus a code that I don't think has been updated since the mid to late 1990s. And then here's a pretty substantial proposal, and that is allowing and developing a process for the concurrent review of both land use, so that's the planning side, and the civil review of the engineering side of applications. This would reduce a lot of time. This would reduce duplication of effort, shorten the review timelines, and also the costs associated with development. It would also increase efficiency in the overall development process, so shortening that development review time, essentially. This one in particular has been an item that I've had some informal discussions with the Home Builders Association of the Tri-Cities. It is one that I think nationally is probably offered less than not, essentially meaning most cities do not offer this. This is one that came up throughout our Housing Action Plan, and while we don't have this in place right now, I think it is one that would make a dramatic difference in streamlining the actual development process itself. So this would include us developing an application, a process with our builders and developers to identify what that application form looks like, and honestly the risk itself, because what happens right now is you submit your land use application, it goes through that review process, and then you're able to submit your civil review. What you do with this concurrent process is essentially you submit both at the same time, which means that staff on the planning side can review for planning rules, and on the engineering side can review for engineering rules. The risk for the applicant is that if there's errors, if there's mistakes or oversights or an unknown, that there is a risk associated with that, and they take that risk. But in the case that there is no errors, it allows them to really move through the process much more quickly. This one, along with those others, I think would go a long ways towards moving the needle in Pasco. So kind of a summary of these components is overall they're addressed and they're proposed kind of all at once to kind of essentially move the needle quite aggressively to meet these demands based on the feedback that we've received over the years. And while there are big changes in our process, the changes are actually minor. Off-street parking requirements essentially goes to off-street parking recommendations. Developing a form for concurrent land reviews is not much of a time-consuming effort. Some of the considerations and questions that staff would seek guidance and direction from council would be any particular criteria related to any of the components. I mentioned, do you want some of these limited by size, limited by the kind of development, determining the actual interim timeline itself. 1 year was probably not enough time given the development pipeline process. But anywhere from 3 to 5 years would probably be something that's more in line with best practice. It also allows us to bring back annual or quarterly reports back to council on the results of the interim development ordinance, and also what sort of measurements is council interested in measuring whether this process is successful or not. So kind of a short presentation on the interim development ordinance, and that concludes the presentation, and happy to answer any questions from council I can this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Director Gonzalez. Does any of the council members? It looks like we have Councilman Grimm.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Just wanted to, I guess, start by thanking City Manager Lincoln. Ever since my fledgling relationship with him and ensuing conversations, this is something he has identified as a real opportunity for improvement. So thank you to the rest of your staff for seeing this through. I really appreciate the work done on this. I know as we were on the campaign trail and some discussions with other council members, it's something we received a lot of feedback about. And so I appreciate you involving the stakeholders, giving them a meaningful seat at the table, and just so many benefits to this is, you said, Director Gonzalez, just the transparency we get out of it. And I think you described it in one of your slides really, really well. I even just all capped it here to stand out to myself. Maintaining standards, but reduce development barriers. I think that's, the best thing we can do for the city, for the development of the city, and just the growth. I mean, the prior process, some of the feedback we heard that it was clumsy, that, that maybe there was a little he said, she said, or who actually do we talk to? And so, to hear that we're kind of going towards more of a one-stop shop streamlined process is really appreciated. Also, heard a lot of feedback about, just how long that it takes. So really seeing this process clearly outlined is, I think, what the development community is hoping for. They know there's going to be standards. They know there's going to be setbacks and other things. And yeah, maybe they're not thrilled about all of them or always the cost, but I think it would go a long ways just for us to basically have the process clearly outlined for them, and then for our part to make sure that we're meeting the allotted established times, that we give them as they go through this permitting process. So, no, really, really appreciate it. It's really, really good to see this come before the council, and I think it'll be a great encouragement to those who want to invest in our city to develop it. So, thank you again.
Thank you, Councilman Grimm. My thoughts exactly on this, so well put. So now we have Councilman Perales.
Appreciate it. I kind of figured if we're gonna, when I saw this come up on the agenda, kind of figured if we're gonna tackle some of this stuff, say we just tackle more. To be honest, I talk with developers and builders all the time, and a lot of things I hear, regards to like a lot of the SEPA policies we have, and us making them jump through more hoops. I'm not going to name the development or the project, but they thought they were going to be doing a rehab project, and then it turned out that they actually needed a SEPA requirement done, a checklist done, when they were told they weren't going to have one. So it's just things like that. And this individual told me it's happened numerous times. So if we're going to look at some of this stuff, why can't we look at everything? Like another thing, we're still waiting on like the final report for the environmental impact statement for Heritage, right? So it's things like that. I think a lot of this stuff is great, but at the same time, I mean, is the staff gotten bigger? Are we gonna have more people to do all this stuff? Because a lot of times there's just a lot of wait times. So I mean, this is awesome, but if we don't have the staff really to make this any faster, is this really gonna improve anything? So that'd be my only, I guess, negative constructive criticism critique would be just that. I mean, a lot of this stuff is things we did here, things we should probably try. I like the intent here, but you know, I think if we're going to be looking at this stuff, I mean, let's look at the fees. Let's look into, you know, connection waivers and stuff like that. I mean, why have we looked into multifamily tax credits and stuff like that? That may perhaps we can do. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we can do. I mean, if we're going to tackle this stuff, I mean, it's interim development ordinance. Why don't we start looking at other things? You know, get with the developers, get with the Tri-City Association of Realtors, and really start tackling this stuff, because we got to build, you know, 23,000 more homes. So it's just that would be my only suggestion with that. I think we should look into a lot more, and you know, take the criticisms we've heard and really dissect them and see if we can make those better. So that would be my.
Well, thank you, Councilman Perales. I appreciate your thoughts as well, and hopefully staff could look into it. And so with that, we have Councilman Harpster.
Thanks. Thanks, Director Gonzalez, for that presentation. One thing I want to give you guys kudos for is the residential design standards update. And, you know, there's real impacts to changes like that. Those changes to the code allowed builders like D.R. Horton, #1 builder in the world, to start building in Pasco. Previously, they were literally unable to because they built such small lots. And so, you know, stuff like creative solutions like that directly and almost immediately impacts home building in this area. One of the quotes that I like from your presentation was regulations designed to test and pilot new ideas. With that though, one thing that I thought of, what if, you know, there's an item that was allowed during this interim period, and at the end of the interim period it was decided that wasn't the best idea, it's not going to be our practice moving forward. You know, what if another developer comes after and says, hey, you allowed this for that project, why can't I do it on this one? Would there be, if changes to the code that are interim in nature, you know, exist in PMC, then is there going to be kind of a caveat noted that this is part of a temporary kind of update that's being tested, so then it avoids people coming later saying, you know, there's precedence, you have to allow me to do it?
Yeah, I think when, you know, if there's changes to the code, they would be adopted under a new ordinance, and there'd be plenty of the context to emphasize that the nature of the ordinance is interim. And I think that's where that specific time period comes into place. Is it a 1-year interim? Is it a 3-year interim? Is it a 5-year interim? 5 years is probably too long. 3 years is probably right around the sweet spot. And you can build in provisions where if you're, you know, applying for a project before the, you know, if it's adopted on August 1st, just an example, and the deadline, and it's supposed to run through August 1st of 2029, right? There's a clear deadline of when your project needs to be into City Hall to be vested, and when it is no longer vested under the old guidelines. I think that's where the annual or maybe the in-between reports back to council are really important, because after a year, definitely after 2 years, we should be able to come back to council and say, look, it turns out minimum lot size was a great idea to add some flexibility, and we're seeing new redevelopment, or we're having the opposite you know, result from a particular change. We can provide those frequently, not wait the end of the 5-year interim period or the 3-year, et cetera, to provide results of the project. I'm sorry, of the intended results. I think that also is going to be part of identifying what council would like to see in terms of what is considered as a success, what is not so successful. If we find out that nobody's building parking, well, that could be problematic. But if developers and projects are building kind of right-sizing their projects, then that's a successful implementation of that ordinance. So I think determining under council's guidance about what those successful measures, those performance measures are, will be important. That way we can track those or the duration of the proposed ordinance.
Thanks. Yeah, I did like that you included there, you know, performance measures, so it's not just an emotional decision, but you know, based on data. I do think 3 years is a good amount of time. Like you said, 1 is just too short to really get a good grasp on what works and what doesn't. And 5 it seems too long. Just some of the snippets that I like from reading through this, you know, some of the buzzwords are clearer guidance. That's helpful, streamlining and clarifying, effectively aligned with the needs of both developers and the community. Because oftentimes those go hand in hand, as you know. Flexibility, discretion, exemptions, concurrent review, I think is a huge one that will save several months of time. And like you mentioned, it's still a risk to the applicant, but if they're experienced in the city of Pasco, know the staff here, have good engineers, then that risk would be lowered on their end. So up to them. But I know projects that we've done in Richland, for example, will allow us, Franklin County will allow us to submit both the application and the plans at the same time. And their take is always, we'll review these plans, but your application not even approved. And we've had good success with doing that. And I think one of the big benefits to that is you can get homes constructed sometimes 6 months sooner. Then now you're getting homes at a lower cost to residents, increasing the city's tax base at a quicker pace. So there's a lot of benefits all around. One of the questions that I had is, what does the anticipated schedule for kind of kicking this off look like? I mean, are you looking to get these changes done in 6 months, 12 months? And in the process, I would imagine would involve stakeholders like HBA, Tri-Cities Realtors Association, Planning Commission. Would there be opportunities for workshops with some council members and some stakeholders, kind of dialogue a bit? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think staff certainly will work under the direction and guidance from council. Like, I think one of the reasons why we propose these specific components is that because they could be adopted while big changes holistically, I think, to the process and what's available, the actual work to make those changes is fairly minor. If we want to introduce other items like looking at SEPA review and SEPA thresholds and fees in particular, that will certainly expand kind of the timeline, because we'll need to make sure we have those things in place prior to bringing this back as a proposal to council. But the items that are on including the presentation today are all ones that we've vetted, and they're all, quite frankly, ones that we've heard about over the last several years from our stakeholder meetings, meetings that I've had informally with the Realtor Association Government Affairs Director, along with the director of the Home Builders Group, and are ones that came directly out of our own housing plan. So I think with all of that kind of substance and context behind it and the motivation behind it, I think staff is certainly comfortable bringing these directly back to council, given the sort of the urgent nature associated with them, is that there are projects that could hold back their application a week or two, wait for this to be approved, if approved as presented, and then be able to move forward with the project under completely more flexible guidelines. The off-street parking density in particular would be dramatically beneficial for many projects that are kind of held up right now. So in terms of a staff timeline, I think this is one that we feel comfortable moving forward with and would be ready to bring back to council by the end of June and mid-July.
Great to hear. To Councilman Perales' point and your response, there's a lot of stuff to look at, but I think it is important to keep the main thing, and slowly work our way through some of the other stuff we want to take a look at. You got to start somewhere, and certainly keep doing what we can to keep the timelines for this particular subject shortened, so then we can move on to other things. Would be helpful, and so I would definitely be in favor of moving forward with this and having some stakeholder workshops like has happened in the past with street connectivity and whatnot, and it's gonna be the same people that showed up to those and are generally helpful voices. And the city of Kennewick does I believe quarterly developer luncheon type thing. A topic like this would be a good one to maybe do something similar to that, and engage with folks like that. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Harpster, and Leo, you have a.
I'll just be real quick.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I think we just need to keep the conversation going. I think that was kind of my point earlier, and I forgot to mention, in regards to the TIAs, it's my understanding that when a developer or whoever has to put together or go get a traffic impact study done, it can be $5,000 to $10,000 on their end. Then they hand it over to the city, and then we hand them a bill sometimes for review for like $50,000. So, because we don't have anyone in house to review that, right? We have to go find someone. So it's things like that I think we need to be more transparent about, and that's why reviewing the fees and all this stuff. I agree with Councilmember Harpster. Let's focus on this stuff, but let's kind of broaden it. Like, I mean, if we're gonna start changing things, let's start looking at things and making it just better over time. You know, this isn't gonna be done in a year, 2 years, and that's fine, you know, because we have staff constraints and stuff like that. But I think it's just time we start doing this again. We have all this growth that's coming to us, and you know, we're still trying to get our head above water in regards to more housing. And so I like a lot of things I saw today. It's going to make infill a lot better. You know, when I lived in Kennewick, I felt like there was a lot of infill, and it just seemed like development was always happening in places where it was already had been established. So I like what I'm seeing, but I just think, you know, if we're going to be looking at some of this stuff, we need to start looking at other things. And if that's the direction, you know, if council needs to give that direction, you know, I'll definitely be beating that drum, you know, from going forward, because we can't be kicking the can down the road in regards to our housing crisis that we have. So that was it.
Thank you. And looks like we have Councilman Harpster real quick.
Yeah, just wanted to clarify, my position was not to broaden the scope of the intent of this item.
All right. Thank you for that clarification. And in all fairness, is there anybody in the audience that would like to talk about this? We're getting a no on that one. So let's move on to 5G. We've got presentation of the 2024-2025 City Council goals and City Manager work plan. We have our very own Adam Lincoln. So look forward to it.
Thank you. So I'll be brief with my portion of this because you've all seen this. They were your goals. So the intent tonight is to kind of quickly run through the way that we broke out the goals from goal setting this year, which was at the end of March. We do have a form in the packet that has your goals, and instead of being the layout that we have, as you can see in the back of the council chambers for those present, where there were sort of sub bullets below each one of the goals, we simplified it, put your goal statements with basically one or two sentences, and then on a separate work plan, put the actual projects under each one of those pillars as they've been referred to in the past. So we can run through the projects pretty quickly. The one thing that I'll add is that in some of the instances, what we would do is we took the goal that was discussed in the council retreat and added some sub items to the work plan, because to accomplish something larger, sometimes you have to have accomplishments of some of the smaller sub projects to actually make it come to fruition. So you can see the first item for quality of life. I promise not to read to you a document that is in your packet, but you can see that these were the projects that we put under there. Some of them have been outstanding for a while. Some of them were newer projects, but basically the goal tonight is one, to make sure we got the list together. Two, we'll be happy to bring this back as often as is necessary to make sure that this living, breathing document stays up to where council wants it to be. And as we expand it, we'll also put more detail, and in the packet there is the detail on kind of estimated timelines, but we want to make sure that they're assigned to appropriate staff and that we actually keep these things moving forward. And that way you're kind of getting constant feedback on how the goals are progressing. So on quality of life, was there anything on here that perhaps we missed, need to expand upon? And we don't have to go through slide by slide. If you'd like to just kind of throw your feedback out, we can handle it that way too, because you've all had chances to look at this. So we can jump around from slide to slide too as feedback is provided, but I don't want to keep you focused on a slide deck unnecessarily if there's just feedback you want to jump into.
Okay, yeah, I'd appreciate council, if you see something, just chime in. So we have Councilwoman Blaisdell.
The only thing that I would like to see on quality of life that we didn't discuss in the retreat is bathrooms in downtown.
All right, and I know staff is working on that. We've got some emails on that recently, but we also have Councilman Grimm.
Mayor Pro Tem, thanks. I'll just save my comments to the end and just blast away.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Go to the next slide.
Just a quick question, sorry to interrupt real quick. The downtown master plan
Yes.
includes bathrooms or lighting and all of that, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so, and that's been updated as of just last,
Two. When did we adopt?
January of last year.
okay, yeah. Okay, cool. So there is a plan, but as of recently, and I think what you're talking about, Ms. Blaisdell, oh my God, Blaisdell, is in regards to the most recent, because the bathrooms have been closed due to being, vandalized. Is that correct?
Well, quality of life. I mean, we have homeless people that need to relieve themselves, so that would be, I think that needs to be a priority for us now, which it's recently came up, so yes.
So, again, we do have a master plan. We just need to figure out, due to these most recent, issues, what to do about, providing that service.
All right, well, thank you. If you want to continue.
Sure. So, financial sustainability, obviously, there's been a lot of feedback from council regarding the upcoming budget, CIP, TIP, et cetera. One of the big takeaways that you'll note on here is the last bullet and a proposal to the mayor to establish some sort of budget committee within the city council to review in closer to real time as we're going through the budget process. So that's something that I've discussed with Mayor Serrano about implementing. Any questions on financial sustainability? Obviously, transportation is a large item for any city, but on here you'll see some of the key items that we did discuss. Just making sure that they stay on the list and that we're getting either information in front of council in the form of email updates, presentations, or actually voting on items and making sure that we're keeping the progress moving forward in the right direction. Again, obviously, community safety is something that we spend a long time talking about as it is critical for the community to make sure that we have the right mix of public safety helping both on the police side and on the fire side. But one of the things that you also talked about was perhaps changing some ordinances and making sure that we have been as creative as possible when it comes to helping combat some of the issues that we're facing as a community and society. So you'll see in upcoming weeks, let's see, we've got on the 24th, we'll have an update on code enforcement and licensing, which is something we've been talking about for a little while. And then on the 10th of June, we'll also be talking about things like the sit-lie ordinance. So there's some things that are coming down the pike pretty soon to make sure that we're addressing the issues that have been discussed about most recently with you all.
All right, looks like we have Councilman Perales.
Yeah, I hate to be on the topic of bathrooms, but I noticed at my park over in Linda La Vista, it looked like our porta potty was vandalized again and burnt. I'm just kind of thinking like I think it's been getting to the point where maybe perhaps we try and just put some type of CMU bathrooms that can get. I mean, they obviously can still get burned down to an extent, but I don't know. I mean, that's twice now that's happened. Maybe it's time to start looking into more efficient type bathrooms that can be burned. So sorry, I just saw the park ranger program and it just kind of came up in my mind.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for that. Economic vitality, in need of probably more citywide economic development strategic plan. I know that's something that's come up. It was something that we looked at about a year ago or so and didn't get off the ground with the right vendor. So it's something we're eager to meet with this council and make sure that we get that off to fruition. And then obviously there's a few other items on there that have been subject of recent discussions and are in the works to get before you all here relatively soon, at least so that we can start getting feedback and make sure we're on the right path as we bring those things forward to you in the form of code changes or new programming or budget recommendations as well. Then city identity was another one that we did a little wordsmithing with as well with you all. And in the past, we've done this goal setting in a way where it's sort of project driven and a lot of ideas come out. But you'll see other cities have moved more to council-led strategic planning, which I think is a little bit more holistic and looks out further as well. So I think that's something that it seemed everyone was comfortable with going down that route, and something that I think is important to have as kind of a touchstone too for the community as well. When you have a mission, vision, and core values for a city council, that's something that also staff uses as touchstones as we're doing our work as well. So I think that's something that is a positive to move towards. Obviously, customer service is something that we've talked a lot about too, and is something that we're taking very seriously with how we promote customer service to the public and within departments. We have a lot of internal facing customer service as well, and something that we're trying to continually improve and do better with. So you'll see some initiatives and hear about some initiatives that we're working on as well to make sure that we're doing surveys at our frontline customers, phone surveys, making sure that we're touching base with the community that's using our services, because after all, a lot of times we are a monopoly, and since you have no other choice but to use our services, we do want to take that very seriously and make sure that we're doing a good job, or at least improving upon the experiences that our customers have had in the past. And then, as we talk about pretty frequently, communication and engagement is something that will remain front of mind for both council and staff as we go forward too. And some things that I was going to imagine we were going to talk about tonight anyway. So obviously, one of the things that have already been accomplished is the allowance of public comments at workshops. You received a draft of what council rules could look like for you all, if that was something that you wanted to adopt and look into further. And then, as I mentioned, licensing inspection programs is something that you'll get a presentation regarding in the next few weeks, so that we can talk about and do a deeper dive into some of those fees and things that we're issuing and dealing with. So that's the other section that didn't necessarily immediately fall into one of the other pillars. Is that it? And that's it for the quick run through. And again, if there's feedback today, really happy to get that, just to make sure the list is as complete as possible. But the intention is not to just have this come to adoption next week. We want to make sure that we have a couple of times, 3 times, however many times you need, including if you need to do another mini retreat or something to provide that feedback. We're happy to make sure that this is a living, breathing document that looks at the standards that you all would like us to uphold.
Well, thank you for that, Mr. Lincoln. I know we've definitely very passionate about a lot of these goals, and I know I am. And again, I know that this whole council is very energetic and hardworking, trying to do the best we can for the city of Pasco. So we appreciate you putting this together, and it looks like on the right side of the room we got a lot of questions or comments. So let's start off first with Councilmember Harpster.
Thanks. I know we briefly talked about this, but clearly I spent a lot of time reading through the TIP and didn't get as much time to read through these. So yes, I would definitely like to bring this back a couple times so I can come up with 20 questions, but just give it some more attention. One of the things I do like on the the list of the goals is the bullet point nature of it. Those are good back there, but that's a lot to read. I like just the boom, 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 this is what we're doing type format. You alluded to it. I do want to, one of the things that we talked about in the retreat that I think all of us were in favor of was being creative on crime prevention approaches and stuff like the no sit, no lie ban, and looking at what other cities around the state are doing to circumvent some of the maybe not so wise legislation that's been passed in the state. Within cracking down on illicit drug use, vagrancy, things like that. I think we discussed that it may be helpful to sit down with Chief Roski and some of his command staff, talk through options on that, maybe what they've seen work across the state or in our region. And so that would be one, like you mentioned, to add on there. And then the last comment, and I know that a couple of us mentioned it before, but in the future, it'd be nice to do the retreat in early January. With election results being certified mid-November, I think that'd be doable. So just 2 cents on that.
Well, thank you, Councilman Harpster. Looks like we're going to Councilman Grimm.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Yeah, just calling out a few of the bullet points down side by side. Thank you for just really, putting on the paper just what the feedback we did give. And I look at city finances and just our future and that being at the forefront. And I see Director Buckley down there smiling, and that is super important. So thank you for keeping it at the forefront. I think of water. And, it's something, again, we've talked ad nauseum. Councilmember Perales and I were on that sub-council talking about. But even my kids, they turn on the faucet too much. And I'm like, you guys, in your generation, I mean, we laugh about, we're not laughing, mocking, but it is going to be so important in decades and years to come. I mean, just the expense of water, just the importance of water, and it's just so easy to take for granted the Columbia River, right in front of us, but it is going to become so much more important. So I appreciate you keeping that at the forefront too, because as much attention as we can give that, we'll just be so better off down the road. Traffic calming and infrastructure. I mean, just so many of these things that, I just appreciate seeing them on the list. Customer service, I saw you made a big point of that, reading my notes somehow here on my notepad here, but I appreciate Director Buckley especially, and her utility customers and her heart to serve those people. And just even what Director Gonzalez just presented about development really shows just the direction we want to go. So I really appreciate it. And then, I wrote licensing and bureaucracy at the end, and just looking at those permits, looking at the processes, looking at the cost of them. So again, just kudos to, getting those on there. And as Councilmember Harpster and others brought up, just the high level police service that was up there, and then just the visibility of it. I noticed, that bullet point, because as Chief Roski would say, part of it's just the impression, just people feeling safe. And the homeless issue was brought up, and the Supreme Court is going to decide in the next few weeks. It's Grants Pass versus Johnson, and it's about, just, is it legal to be homeless? Can you just camp out? And so I think that is going to really give us some direction. It was before the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and, finally made its way to the Supreme Court. So I look forward to just learning, what we're going to be able to do with that. And then I know Chief Roski and staff will put their heads together. And of course, I see your city attorney nodding. So that's going to be really just interesting. So anyways, it's really great to see all of this before us. So much of this is, I think, what we want. And so now let's get it done, I guess, the execution of it. And with that, how can we help, other than maybe answering your emails when you're asking for direction? And we get separate emails, so I have no way of knowing if my other council members, I'm sure, are responding too. But if there's another way that we can help get this done, because these are all great things for our city, let us know. We want to help. Let's do this.
I think to provide some feedback there, I think one of the things that we're trying to do is, as we get information together, if it can be handled in the form of an email to council as a briefing, that helps at least shape what the future conversation is going to look like in front of council. So getting that feedback when you get emails from myself or other staff members on an issue, especially when it's tied to your goals and your work plan here, it is very helpful to get, even if it's a note that says good, bad, whatever. Simplicity is fine, but having that communication with you all is something that's very helpful to make sure that we're on the right path, and then we know that we're checking the right boxes. So that's greatly appreciated, and we'll keep getting the information in front of you as timely as we can. Future versions of this, and you'll see on there also that in the packet itself, it does talk about estimated timeframes for starting and completion. So please do take a look at that as well, because some of these projects aren't overnight projects. Some of them are going to be lengthier and will extend beyond the 2-year time frame that we're looking at here. That doesn't mean we're not going to be giving you constant updates on how things are progressing and where we are on different projects. So we'll be sure to be communicative, but just realistic with some of the timelines on this. But it's also an opportunity for you to give us feedback on what your priority order is too. If there's something on there that we're working on that is something that should be backburnered more so than something else, that feedback also is equally important for us to know that we're on the right path.
Well, thank you for that. And so we also have Councilwoman Bras.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Couple things. I do want to say thanks again for the bringing this back. And my suggestion would be, after several emails back and forth on what to add, what the expectations would be, I would suggest that we sit at another mini retreat, and just have those ongoing communication. The theme here is to be as communicative as possible, to let staff know what the expectations are from the council in general. I know one thing that we started seeing, previous council started seeing when you came on board, Adam, was those weekly briefs of, here's what happened in the last week, right? So I appreciate all that, the open communication. That's fabulous. And when you're not around, several of you other staff they make sure that we get those communications. So thank you for that. But that would be my suggestion. After a few emails back and forth, that we do sit down soon and have that mini retreat with all of council, preferably in person again, so that we avoid any miscommunications, and the council goals are as clear as possible for our next plan. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that. Looks like we have Councilman Harpster again.
Yeah, I'll just echo Councilman Barras's thoughts. I agree that we should do a mini retreat, not for several hours, but a few solid, efficient hours. Thanks.
All right, I'm up for that as well. And I'll say one of these days when we have a bigger park in the city of Pasco and we got tons of lighting in the downtown Pasco, I'll feel my job here as a councilman is done. So thank you for that. Yeah, that's all it's going to take, yes. Or at least I'll toast the city staff on that one. So with that, I think we're done with that particular part of our agenda. So we're moving on to 6, and we have miscellaneous council discussion.
You guys had a comment?
Oh, we actually did. I'm sorry, you were so quiet back there. So before we move on to 6, if you would like to make a comment, I'd appreciate it.
You bet. Thomas Grandbois, Big Maple Properties. Good evening, council and staff. Thanks for having me here. I really enjoy the public comment during workshop. I think that's great, even though we're getting used to it, right, David? It was really exciting to see on the, I think it was the quality of life slide there, talking about lighting and sprinklers specifically. Those are two things that came up many, many years ago and have sort of worked their way up to the top. They came up before many of you were here, and it's just really great to see those making up their way up the list of priorities. I know that it's been a real challenge trying to understand, what city resources can do with private businesses and private property and things like that. So I really appreciate that. I know a lot of my neighboring business owners and property owners aren't obviously here, but they could really benefit greatly from that. I can, the city went to the effort in previous years to do the sprinkler study that then identified that, yeah, there are issues, and if we can get some sort of help or some sort of direction in that area, it'd really help with expanded use in the downtown. And obviously lighting, I'd welcome anybody to drive down my alley at night and see how safe it is. Talk to the police officers who work at night there, and you can definitely see a difference. So if we can focus or knock that one out, I think that'd be really great, because it really makes a difference in terms of safety and security in the downtown. So thank you.
Thank you for that public comment. Go figure, I don't ask for it, and that's the one time we have somebody asking about it. So anyway, now I believe we're up for number 6, miscellaneous council discussion, and I think we're going to start off with Adam Lincoln, and then we'll go to any of the other council members.
Thank you. I think Director Sarah had a couple quick items for you.
Good evening again. 2 quick items. The first one is announcing the ramp opening at Broadmoor Interchange. We expect that ramp to be open next week, but that does not mean the project is complete. The project continues, but the ramp will be open. Huge. And we have a slide. Let me see. We'll get there. So anybody traveling eastbound on I-182 and wanting to head north on Broadmoor will no longer be taking the exit as it exists today. They will instead be going under the bridge and then coming around and using the new lanes that were created there. Anybody going southbound will remain using the existing ramp. And of course, there will still be traffic control and work happening on top of the bridge and where that roundabout is still being built. So that is very exciting. Please look out for new traffic control and notices. There's plenty of outreach happening right now. So just keep an eye out for it. And finally, today we presented 2 acceptances of projects. There's plenty of projects being completed and needing acceptances. We want to be conscientious of the use of your time in the meeting. So today was a very quick overview. We are open to your feedback on whether you like this quick overview, if you would prefer to have those items be more concise, faster, if they are even eligible for consent agenda, any way that we can make the use of your time the best use of it. Just because this is a necessary step in our release of retainage to contractors and we want to be timely, but at the same time we understand the meetings are typically long with lots of items.
All right, well, thank you for that. I know I kind of liked it when we were speeding up because we were pretty much aware of a lot of that stuff already. But please chime in, the other council members, if they have different opinions. So we are going to start off with Councilman Perales.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I'm glad Councilmember Grimm brought it up. I was going to ask about where we at with the ordinance for the water rights subcommittee results and see. It's been a couple of weeks since I was wondering about that.
It's on the agenda for the 3rd, I believe.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and then just to kind of, I guess, answer your question, yeah, I mean, a lot of these things we've had multiple presentations on, so, I mean, if you want to just put 30 together in one night, go ahead and we can just go through it.
All right, well, thank you for that. And next up on the list is Councilman Grimm.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you, Director Sarah. Other than my kids telling me they got their homework turned in today, that was the best news I've received all day. That is going to be a huge game changer for the traffic coming off of the interstate there. I just feel the relief. I mean, just the sigh of people. So yes, that is fantastic news. Thank you. And then I was just going to ask staff, and maybe you might even be the right person, Director Sarah, if we have any how's it going along the Sylvester corridor? I know, it's quite the disruption to a lot of the residences there, and I know a few people brought some concerns. I was just wondering if you had an update as far as maybe our discussions with some of the residents along there and just kind of how that project's going.
Yes, I can address that. So there's some concerns with driveway reconfigurations. We continue to meet with property owners and try to make sure that everybody understands the project needs to meet the code rules that are established for driveways, and some of those residences have been there for a long time and were not developed to current standards. So they're seeing modifications, in some cases reductions to their accesses. So that's not always very well received. We have a duty to make sure that corridor is safe for those that will be using it in all modes of transportation. So we continue to communicate and try to accommodate as best we can those requests, although we need to remain compliant. And then as far as all the work continues to advance, there's lots of work happening. On the north side is where the focus of the work is happening, and there is curb and gutter being poured, some sidewalks starting to be poured along with ADA ramps, and we just continue to advance, hopefully soon to switch to the south side and then being done by the end of the year. So that's exciting too.
No, I appreciate that. Yes, and I just, it is important for them to know that, to receive some of the grants, we have to adopt to some of those standards that go beyond the city. And I think just as much as we can continue to communicate that to the folks that live along there, because it is quite a disruption. Even on the weekend, they're just kind of parallel parking there on Sylvester because the access to their driveways has you know, it's not ideal, we'll just say for now. And yeah, we need the growth. We need to, like you said, put in the proper infrastructure. But I know it's been a challenge for a few of those residents. So as much as we can continue to be sensitive to that, I would really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that, Councilman Grimm. And now we have Councilman Harpster.
Thanks. I've got an email from a gentleman with Bezos Academy. They're a nonprofit organization tasked to launch and operate a network of tuition-free preschools in under-resourced areas. They opened up the first school in Eastern Washington here in Pasco, just up the street, a few blocks near Don Rubio's. And in partnership with the Housing Authority of the City of Pasco and Franklin County. And they're looking to expand in our area and open up another school or two for a total of 2 or 3. Gentleman who is with the organization, I forget his position, but he reached out to me about doing a presentation to council and seeing how we can partner with them on that. So just wanted to get gauge council's interest in doing that. Because Mr. Lincoln sent an email and I don't know that there was a lot of response, so I'll assume that yes, everybody's interested.
Yeah, no, I'll go ahead and jump in. Yeah, I thought it was great. I had a couple of emails going back and forth with the individual, and I thought it'd be a good presentation for the council.
And then the other one, council rules, which was on our council goals packet tonight. But that was one email went out and just looking for discussion. And that's something that I'd love to discuss at a workshop meeting. And I know Mr. Lincoln sent a 18 to 20 page document for us to read through. And the intent was find out what we like, what we don't like, if that's kind of going down the right path. And a lot of it was just some pretty basic rules of decorum and whatnot, and something we can lean back on in, for old and proper meetings. So again, just wanted to gauge council's interest in discussing that, and you guys know where I stand on that.
All right, thank you for that. Are you just asking a question, or are you actually wanting?
Well, emails were sent out by City Manager Lincoln, and it sounded like there wasn't enough responses to really give staff clear direction. And so just wanting to help give staff clear direction on if we as a council are interested in discussing rules and having Bezos Academy do a presentation.
Okay, well, I know I did comment on the Bezos, but I'll do the rules as well. Just sometimes you get carried away with life and trying to maintain a business and everything else. So I will comment on that. And looks like you're done, or you still have other stuff?
Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
And then looks like we have our attorney.
Yeah, Mayor Pro Tem, I can chat a little bit about the rules and maybe help us get a little guardrails, because I know it was overwhelming to send a lot of that stuff. I mean, that's how it starts, right? I mean, it starts to snowball, and then there's all sorts of nuances to it. So one of the things that, and I talked to Mr. Lincoln and Ms. Sigdell, and we were chatting about kind of what that best approach would be. Would it be better to kind of come forward and then just kind of give a brief overview and focus on, I mean, kind of the 30,000 foot level, just kind of run through it and just kind of talk about, so not get into the granular aspects of each of the kind of the areas, because there's a lot there, and go focus on it that way, and then maybe that'll give us some ideas about where we want to focus our efforts on it, or realize that a lot of the stuff, as we all know, when you try to complete a document like that, excuse me, what's hard sometimes is anticipating all the different ways that it could come into use. So a lot of the stuff wouldn't be used on a regularly or routine basis, but it would still be in there if necessary when there's certain conflicts between certain approaches on certain things. So anyway, long and short of it is, we'd be happy to figure out, or we could go a little more methodical and break it up and kind of go through the first chunk and maybe break it up into 2 or 3 chunks and kind of come back and focus on it that way. But whatever works best for the council. I know there's a lot of information there, and it's not exactly wonderful reading in terms of it is very important, but it's very dense as well. So just whatever whatever council needs us to do, we're happy to do it.
All right, well, thank you for that clarification and idea as well. So next, we're going to move on to Councilwoman Barajas.
Never mind on my comment.
All right, well, that's beautiful. Councilman Grimm.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Just real briefly, I did answer the email about the Bezos Academy, and I would be up for talking about the structure of our meeting and decorum. So put me down for a head nod for that. Thank you.
Thank you. And it looks like we have Councilwoman Barajas right
Thank
back
you.
again.
It came back to me. It came back to me. Thank you for for responding to that, Mr. Ferguson. I would suggest that anything in regards to rules and regulations, decorum, we discuss at the mini retreat that we should be having here soon.
I think that's a wonderful idea, so thank you for that. Yep, we got some agreements, so good on that. So I think we're done with section 6, so moving on to section 7. Looks like we have some clarification here on one of the things. So we have part A, we have discussion with legal counsel about current or potential litigation per RCW 42.30.110, which that should take around 30 minutes. And then on section B, we have consideration of site selection per RCW 42.30.110, 1B, and that we think that's going to be 10 minutes. So with that, I would like to recommend we take a break. I'm not sure if we need 5 minutes or 10 minutes. What would the council like? 5 minutes. 5 minutes. So right now it is 9:06. 5 minutes would be 9:11, and then after exec session would be 9:51. So this is gonna be a long meeting. So, and we'll come back at that. Thank you. So our exec session is going a little bit longer, so we will return at 10:51, so in 10 minutes. Thank you. I'm sorry, 10:01. 10:01. Just making sure. Yeah, that would be a long meeting, so 10:01. Thanks. Hey, it looks like we are not done yet, so we're gonna extend for another 5 minutes. So we're looking at 10:06. See you then. All right, we are back from exec session, and the time now is 10:07, and this meeting is adjourned. Have a good evening, Pasco.